this is a website called Fatigue to Flourish, but if you look up or just Google ways to treat mold, you will find a lot of functional medicine doctors out there, because functional medicine doctors understand if there's inflammation on the inside, it's going to be caused by certain core things. And the causes are typically diabetes, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, anemia, mycotoxins, because boy, we live in a toxic world. And they look for certain genetic problems. And for me, they found out that I wasn't detoxing properly. And the first thing we did was start to get my body the right kind of vitamin B so I could start detoxing properly. And along the way, we found out that I had a mold source called Ochrotoxin A. And what we were, the other thing that, the other way my body was toxic is through a provocation test. I found out that I had mercury poisoning. So we went into a process of detox. So in the process of removing the mercury, I also removed the mold. And this is what I did. The book to read about mold toxicity is by Dr. Richie Shoemaker. He perfectly details in his book how to identify mold, how to get rid of mold, how to treat mold. And one of the things in my most recent email I put out is what I'm doing. So one of the things I do is take glutathione. And I'm going to read just a little bit about glutathione here. In many health circles, glutathione is known as a master antioxidant. Glutathione is certainly an antioxidant. Whether it's better than other antioxidants, I don't know. Your body is capable of creating its own glutathione from amino acids easily obtained in your diet. When practitioners suspect you have a mold illness, glutathione should be one of the first recommendations. For one good reason, glutathione is a wizard at helping your body rid itself of mold toxins. So, for about a year now, I've been taking glutathione twice a day. I take it in a liposomal form, and I get it on Amazon from a company called Code Age. One of the ways to know if you're suffering from mycotoxins without taking expensive tests is you can go to and do some VCS testing. And I can show you. If you go to vcstest.com, you can take a free VCS test. And what it will do is it will through looking at how your, let me just take the blur off for a moment. So if you look at this test, you can see my VCS test. This shows you how you see. The VCS test shows you a series of images, and it's all about what you can and cannot see in the image. For instance, you hit the button if you can see it, and it's kind of like a hearing test where you hit the button if you can hear it, or the test that you take at the eye doctor when they score all these, you hit the button every time you can see a dot. So this has a series of lines, and you hit the button when you can see the lines, and it gives you a score. And if you are suffering from mycotoxins, this test can tell you from how your eyes see those lines. So my tests are overall positive, which means I suffer from mycotoxins. That is clear. And even though I'm still treating a lot of things, I'm still suffering from mycotoxins. It's an ongoing process. It's kind of like peeling the onion. So I'm going to go back to my screen sharing. Oh, where did it go? There it is. So the VCS test is completely free. However, it'll send you down a rabbit hole, because if your test comes back that you're suffering from mycotoxins, it'll be time to figure out what mycotoxins you're suffering from. So one of the best things you can do for mycotoxins is sweat. So my body has never sweat very well. For instance, I can go into a sauna and get really hot and not sweat. The only way to get my body to sweat is to get on an elliptic trainer and work really hard, and then my body will start to sweat. So that's what my body likes to do. It likes to work out, and it likes to work out pretty hard. And if I do that, then I'll get to sweating. And sweating is one of the steps that is included in detoxification in the Bredesen program. So if your genes are moldy, and because I did test from Ochrotoxin A, my genes were moldy, you can take some natural binders. So while I was detoxing, I took some of these right here. I took bentonite clay, charcoal, and I'm currently taking chitosan. Or I think that's called chitosan. Chitosan, these are all binders, and what binders do is they bind the mold and pull it out through defecation. Certain probiotics help your body to expel toxic mold. And so the probiotic that I take has all three of these probiotics. And my doctor says, be sure to find a probiotic that has this lactobacillus rhamnosus. And he said, because this is the one that not only helps you dispel the mold, but it also helps you to break down and remove sugars. So I did have, when I first came into the protocol, I had candida, and I had been trying to get rid of candida for years. And going through this detoxification process, I also got all the candida in my gut, which is a really good thing. And I'm sure it was these probiotics that helped me with that. So mast cell activations in your body are when your immune system sees your own tissues as harmful. And in cases like that, you might break out in rashes or have terrible sinus problems, asthma, respiratory problems, gastrointestinal problems from toxic mold. I can tell you, as I detoxed all this mold out of my body, my allergies got really better. I stopped having itchy, dry eyes. I stopped having horrible allergies, and I used to really not look forward to spring. I would have just the most terrible allergies. So I can see everybody that I work with now having terrible allergies, and I'm not, which is great. So, mast cell activation can be preventing you from treating and overcoming toxic mold. And if that happens, they're saying that you should be taking 500 milligrams a day of quercetin. You can increase that dose up to 2,000 milligrams of 30 minutes before each meal. That is a lot of quercetin. I currently am not taking quercetin, and I am, if we go back to the top of the list, I am taking glutathione. And I believe that quercetin is something that helps you produce glutathione. I also take NAC. Oh, that's what I was looking at. NAC is a precursor to glutathione. So I take both NAC and acetylcysteine and glutathione every day. I no longer take charcoal. I might take it again if I go back into some detoxing. As far as natural binders, I take 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk before I go to bed at night as a natural binder. And I seem to tolerate that really well. And I drink it with a straw because I don't like the way it tastes. And I've had a lot of people say, we don't take a psyllium husk because we don't like the way it tastes. I said, well, just drink it with a straw. I drink mine with a straw. And I also take chitosan, and I take chitosan at night because chitosan is going to bind extra fat in your body. And when I had my recent Viome test, they said I had too much fat and that wasn't being digested. So I started taking chitosan to help me sweep out any extra fat in my system that isn't being digested. And I take it at night, so it's not pulling it from my meals. When I take all of my nighttime medicines, the supplements, I take them before I go to bed, which is usually at least 3 hours after I ate. So I want to give all of my nutrients an opportunity to digest before I take the chitosan and before I take the psyllium husk, because I don't want those binders to bind the minerals and the nutrients in my food. So I'm going to see if there's any, I can show you. In the year that I have been in the Recode program, I have compiled a lot of information, and it's all in this binder right here. And one of the references I have here was a wonderful article that was put together by hindwally.com. And this is what I use as my reference for Ochrotoxin A. And one of the things they go through is all of the different bacteria strains you should have in your probiotics. And I really hope that if you're not taking a good quality probiotic, to please start investigating really good probiotics. And the ones I like best come refrigerated, and I have to keep them refrigerated. Ketoston has been used in vitro to remove ochratoxin A from wine and coffee. Yay! I really like wine and coffee. I haven't had wine for an awfully long time. Might have a glass of wine in 2 days because it will be my 61st birthday. But I pretty much am not drinking wine because of the mold in wine. And I'm trying to avoid things that have natural sources of yeast and natural sources of mold. And we know that cheeses and wine and beer, all of that is created with mold. And I love my coffee. And coffee, as it turns out, is really good for your brain. And I muscle test my coffee to be sure that it's not moldy. And so far, all my Starbucks coffees have come out pretty good. So this word, I'm going to spell it for you. Sacharomyces. Saccharomyces is black currant juice. And black currant juice, it turns out, is full of polysaccharides. It's good for us to know what our vitamin A, our vitamin C, and our vitamin E levels are. Vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin E all help us to detoxify. I also take selenium because selenium is also something that helps our body detoxify. Lycopene is something that is available in red, pink, and orange foods: tomatoes, watermelon, pink grapefruit, asparagus, red cabbage, guava, papaya, red pepper, mangoes, and persimmons. I must really like lycopene because persimmons are like one of by far my favorite foods, but they kick me out of ketosis. So I'm only going to eat those when I'm doing something more paleo and less keto, which I do from time to time, but when I'm losing too much weight. And I take a green tea supplement for antioxidants. I take licorice. I have some DGL licorice tablets that I chew on, and those help you to build a healthy gut lining. And N-acetylcysteine has been shown to combine directly with ochratoxin A or metabolites and remove them in the urine. So they say that there are some herbs that are also beneficial, like milk thistle, ashwagandha, gotu kola, and I take ashwagandha every day. think everyone should be taking some source of Lactobacillus plantarum. And you can get Lactobacillus plantarum for a song practically on iHerb. I think the last time I paid for that, it was something like $6. It's not expensive. And high protein diets are yeah, when we're consuming proteins, we have to be sure not to be eating anything that's deep fried, because deep fried found in things like broilers and barbecues and deep fryers create a really toxic soup in your protein, and that can increase or feed the bacteria in your gut. We should all do our best to do some sweating. Put a little effort into sweating. And if you can tolerate saunas, do it. Every time you're invited into a sauna, go. Because particularly if like where you live, Dawn, I'm hoping that they have a hot tub. And if you can go directly from that very hot state of being and jump into a cold pool, that creates hermetic stress in your body. And hermetic stress creates this form of brown fat in your body that really helps to grow the process in your body that creates longevity. So there are different ways to create hermetic stress, and how I've been doing it recently is I've been at Planet Fitness, I've been going and doing the red light machine, and when I'm in there, I put the vibrate function on there, and that vibrate function vibrates your whole body. And that kind of vibration, which vibrates all of the muscles and tissues in your body, creates hermetic stress. So that's a really good thing to Google hermetic stress and how to create hermetic stress. But one way to do that is get your body really hot and then plunge into a cold pool. Everyone who has a hot tub needs to have an ice bath sitting next to it. When I was a kid and I went to my very first gym, and I was that kind of crazy girl who, when I was 17 years old, I had my very first gym membership, and that was a gym in Chicago, and it had a hot tub, and right next to it had a freezing cold pool. So I used to get really warm and jump into that cold plunge. So I'm gonna stop the share now. And stop the recording.